So this is the first video of a preparation for the November exam, and in this video I want to look at question 1. So if we look at question 1.1, it says if k is an element of 0, 1, 2 and 3, determine the value of k such that the root of 18 over k minus 1 is an integer, an irrational number and undefined. Now the most important part in this question is the fact that it says k is an element of 0, 1, 2 and 3. It means the only values that k can be is k can either be 0, k can be 1, k can be 2 or k can be 3. Those are the only options. Now I need to go back and ask myself, do I remember what an integer is? So remember, an integer is any whole number. K can either be positive or negative, but the main thing is that it has no decimals. Alright, so it's either going to be 20 or minus 5 or 120 or 7 or whatever, but it cannot have any decimal places. Alright, then the next one is an irrational number. So remember the word ir means that something is not rational. So if it's not rational, it means it has more than 3 decimal places. Okay, so it basically has repeating decimals, and remember the problem here is to remember that if it has a pattern, it can be a rational number. But if there's no pattern, no nothing, and it has more than 3 decimal places, then it will be an irrational number. And then the last one there they have is undefined. So when is something undefined? Well, when you have to divide with a 0. And if you use your calculator, it will come up as a math error, and then you must just go and check. Alright, is it a math error because it's non-real? For example, a root with a negative in it, or is it undefined because you are dividing with a 0? Alright, so now we go back to our question and we go and look at the formula they gave us. So they told us there is, alright, so I have the square root of 18, oh, why am I writing in purple? Okay, I have a square root of 18 over k minus 1. Now remember, your k can only be what they said it's an element of, so it can only be 0, 1, 2 and 3. So let's substitute it. So in my first one, I'm putting 18 over, no, I forgot, 0 minus 1. Alright, and if I calculate this is going to give me the root of negative 18, which I know is going to give me a math error. Alright, but the fact that it's giving me a math error does not automatically mean it's undefined, because what makes something undefined? When the bottom part becomes 0. Right, so this would have actually been non-real if there was a non-real option. Alright, then the next value I can put in is I can make k 1. So now I have 18 over 0, which if I put it into my calculator also gives me a math error. And then what will this one be? This one will be undefined. Why is it undefined? Because I'm dividing with a 0. So the answer for question 1.1.3 will be where k is equal to 0. K is equal to 1. Because what did I have to put into k's place? I had to put in a 1, and that gave me the 0. Alright, let's quickly put in our next one. So our next k value is going to be 2. So it's going to be 2 minus 1, and that gives me the root of 18. And if I press my ST button, it gives me 4,26 2426 40687, etc. So it automatically, what is this? Okay, it's not a non-real number, but what does it give me? It gives me an irrational number. So what did I have to substitute into k to get an irrational number? I had to substitute 2. So it means that my k for irrational number would have been 2. Alright, so the last k value I have left is k equal to 3. So now I'm going to do the same thing, and now I'm going to put in 3 minus 1, which gives me the roots of 9, which gives me 3. Alright, and what is 3? 3 is a whole number. So what value did I have to put into k to give me my integer? I had to put in 3. So my answer would have been k equals to 3. Alright, this is an important question that sometimes confuses you, but it shouldn't, because your answers here can only be one of the numbers that stands there, meaning it can only be 0, 1, 2, and 3. And when you must remember what the theory is to know is it going to be 1, 2, 3, or 0. Alright, let's look at question 1.2, which is just simplifying. I don't think there should be any problems at this stage of simplifying. So let's quickly look at question 1. Alright, so when you have to multiply this, remember that in my first bracket I have 2 terms, and in my second bracket I have 3 terms, which means that this x has to multiply with that 9y squared, this x has to go and multiply with x squared, and this x has to go and multiply over negative 3xy. So in other words, I'm basically saying, what is x times 9y squared? I'm saying what is x times x squared, and what is x times negative 3xy. Alright, and then you're going to do the same thing with a 3y. So now you're going to take the 3y and multiply it in with all 3 terms. So now I'm going to basically say, alright, so what is 3y times 9y squared? What is 3y times x squared? And what is 3y times negative 3xy? Alright, you don't have to show these steps, you can just automatically write your answer. So the first one, what is x times 9y squared? Well, it will give me 9xy squared. Then my next one, what is x times x squared? So it's going to become x to the power of 3. And then I'm going to say x times negative 3xy, so it's going to become negative 3x squared y. Alright, so now we did the x. Now we move on to the y. So now it's going to be 3y times 9y squared, so it's going to become plus 27y to the power of 3. And then 3y times x squared becomes 3x squared y. And then lastly, 3y times negative 3xy becomes negative 9xy squared. Now you must just check, do you have any like terms? Well, yes. Here I have an xy squared, and here I have an xy squared. Alright, and then here I have an x squared y, and here I have an x squared y. Now remember, when you're adding or subtracting, only the numbers change, not your exponents. Alright, so I'm only going to say, alright, what's 9 minus 9? Well, that gives me 0, which means this cancels out. Then I'm going to say, okay, x to the power 3 did not have a 3, so I still have x to the power 3. And then I have negative 3 plus 3, which gives me 0, so these two cancel. And then I'm left with 27y to the power of 3. So by now you need to know how to add and subtract and multiply out your brackets. Alright, so I think that is that for this video. So in the next video I will continue.